The doctor's prognosis for Christa was always that she will eventually pass away. They just had no idea when. The moment that I found out that I was pregnant with Christa, it was a difficult moment because her biological father, we were married at the time, he was in rehab. So it was a very scary time for me. Spending those first 3 months before her injury with her, it just seemed like, we were mostly never apart. On the day that Christa was shaken, she was alone with her biological father. We were separated, and so he had her alone overnight. The next morning, he had to go to work, so he had dropped Christa off with my sister, who was going to babysit while we both worked that day, and then I was going to go pick her up. But it didn't make it that far because I got a call saying I needed to get to the ER and that my daughter was there. It was my sister and my mother who discovered that Christa was very lethargic after he had dropped her off. He had a hat on her even though it was like summertime, and her temperature was like dropped down to the lower 90s. And so that was when the ambulance was called. When I walked in, I was like, what's wrong with her? And the doctor said, shaken baby syndrome. It was a moment of just like disbelief of like, no, you're wrong. Immediately, it was like, she couldn't have been shaken. There's no way. The extent of her injuries were as if she was dropped off a 2-story building. She was placed into a medical coma, but before in the ER, I looked into her eyes and it was just lifeless, like there was nothing there. It was a complete opposite of the baby that I had seen the day before. My ex-husband, he claimed that he knew that something was wrong with her, but he didn't seek medical attention because he thought that she, would basically just get over it. She wasn't eating. She also was having seizures, but he said that he thought she was having bad dreams. He was asked the question, why didn't you call, your wife? Why didn't you call the mother? And he said, I did not want to hear her griping at me. I didn't want to believe that someone could be so selfish and so negligent, especially towards their own child. And so I was in a deep denial about that. I was trying everything to figure out what else could have happened. We were investigated by DCS. We were investigated by a forensic doctor. We took polygraph tests, and they investigated our families and just everyone who had been around her. But during those investigations, they did decide that they thought that he was the one who shook her. That's when I really started to come out of that denial that I was in, that he must have done something. They had enough evidence to take it to trial. DCS saw that as, okay, we can't risk going to trial and losing because it would be like he could just get custody of this child back. So they made a deal with him that said, if you will sign custody over to the mother and agree to supervised visitations only, then we will drop criminal charges. And so he did agree to that. I was very angry that they weren't pushing for criminal charges. I tried to fight it for a while. I tried to do everything I could to just get him criminally charged because I felt like he needed to be. It was taking a lot of time and energy away from Christa. And so I eventually just gave up trying to get him put in jail and put that energy towards taking care of her and taking care of my kids and myself. The transition from caring for a very healthy child who did not have any medical issues to overnight being the mother of a child who had very, extensive medical issues. It was a very difficult transition. There's just so many questions. What's going to happen to her? Is she going to survive? How am I going to work and take care of her by myself? She was in and out of the hospital. She couldn't do much, but she did have this sassy attitude still. If you moved her the wrong way, or if someone new came into the room and she just didn't like them, she would let you know that. Even though doctors would say that she didn't have the capacity or ability to really have a personality because of her brain injury, just knowing that she still had some kind of personality and just getting to laugh about those times was, one of my favorite memories with her. The doctor's prognosis for Christa was always that she will eventually pass away. She would either die from an infection or she would eventually, pass away from her body failing her because that small piece of brain she still had left that didn't die from the brain injury would not be able to sustain life for her. There was one day that we were just doing her regular care and she had some liquid come out. She could never have anything by mouth. So anytime she vomited, it was like something is really wrong because there should be nothing in her stomach. I took her to the hospital and it was fluid from her lungs. And so that was when they placed her on hospice care and said she probably doesn't have long to live. She did live for 2 weeks like that on hospice care before she did finally pass away. Christa was 3 years old when she passed away. When it comes to bringing awareness about shaken baby syndrome on social media, it's easy to just like really scroll by it because it's like, oh, I don't want to see that. It's just so negative. It puts me in a bad mood. But it's something that we kind of need to stop and just, listen to the moms like me who have been through it, who never would have expected, it to happen to me. And I'm not saying it's going to happen to you or to anybody but just knowing that it exists could potentially help someone else.
She is seen. Are you?